Perfect. Hey, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day particularly listen to this. As always, I greatly appreciate you for tapping in. This is Mantalk Monday. It is I, Augustus C. Foster, your host. And today I am blessed and extremely honored and privileged to have a brother who I've been able to admire from a distance, Coach Cannon, on with me in the space today. I think the words he's going to have for you and the work he's actively doing right now, emphasis on actively. The brother's not dormant with what he's doing. He's not stagnant. He's not letting it sit down. He's not resting on his laurels. He's out here really doing the work. I'm excited to have him on, and I know it's going to be inspiring and it's going to help somebody out there. So, Coach, man, brother, I thank you again. Like I said in the pre, I thank you and I truly appreciate you for your time today, man. How we doing?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm doing well, and I'm thankful to be a part of what it is that you're building here. And that intro, bro, I'm trying to figure out. You talked about me, but I appreciate it though. It's very, very honorable to be here, and I salute what you're doing and just the work and the conversations that you've been providing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So, for those who are uninitiated, man, and they're not following you on social media, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, where you come from, and of course, we talk pre. You come from the camp of from the tribe of the hoods. So you come from the Hua tribe, as they call it. Man, if you want to give a little bit about your background, man, before you arrive to where you are now, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. Well, you're right. I am a part of the Horde tribe, which is the Uncle Sam tribe, which is the U.S. Army. And salute to everybody else that has served. But I just think the Army, we were the first portion of the military to be formed, and I'm just A's for awesomeness. And I think that it's a phenomenal thing. As for me, I have 19 years, 7 months, and 1 day of service between the Army and Army National Guard. I am an Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran. I'm a husband. I am a father. I am a friend. I am just all around an individual who wants to see the people around him succeed. I'm from North Carolina, a little small town place that probably nobody has heard of called Tick Bite. That's where I was raised at.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, in the sticks, bro. In the sticks.
that is
We used to
tick
hustle
tick
corn.
a tick bite. You
Yeah,
can't just
Tick
we're
Bite,
gonna
bro.
let you continue, but you can't glaze over that. That's like when my family tells people, hey, the roots are in the low country of South Carolina. I'm like, you can't glaze over that. You gotta
hmm
tick tick bite. Okay.
Tick
Tick bite,
Bite,
North
bro.
Carolina. Okay.
Yep, that's the name of it. Little small place. It was actually a 1 mile strip of road. That's it. And they
Mm.
just call I don't know how it got the name, but I definitely know some ticks down there and they did bite. Yeah, man. And so for me it's just something that I just believe in, and just having the opportunity to move from there. And it's a long story. We may get into it, but in 1999, Hurricane Floyd hit and our house got
Yeah.
flooded. So we
Mm.
lost everything and we had to move to another city. And just life, how life, we never know the directions that life takes us. But as long as we have God with us, He'll definitely guide us and He'll provide us what we need through whatever season and storm that we face.
True story, man. Awesome, man. Awesome. So all the way from the hills of Tick by North Carolina. So you talk about Hurricane Floyd. So in 1999, because you're not much younger than me. It don't crack. We've stayed and maintained good youthfulness. So and
Facts.
that's 1999 Hurricane Floyd and the house flood. So what shifted or what caused? Because it seems like you're alluding to in 1999 that was a move away from North Carolina, a pivot away. What occurred when Floyd hit with you all?
Well, when Hurricane Floyd hit, afterwards, our home and everything, it sustained minimum damage. And I was like 16, 17. And the flood came and
Mm,
everything that we lost everything in that flood when the National Guard came through with their trucks and they was telling us, pack 3 days worth of clothes and grab as much stuff as you can. So when we left out of there, I had the clothes on my back, 3 days worth of clothes. And due to the waters, I think our home had something like 10, 15 feet of water that covered the house. And bro, like everything. We lost everything. And so even with my parents, they ended up, that's one of the things I say is that that flood took away everything, not only our subsistence as a family, but our family unit, because my parents ended up getting a divorce shortly
Mm,
afterward. And I ended
wow.
up joining the military and all of that right there. And so I think that the transitions and the things that life put at us, it caused us either to rise or it caused us to be swept away with the tide.
Mm. And in that case, it was the actual, the figurative and the literal sense. Wow, man. So going and seeing that, the change in your family dynamic, and we'll get into fatherhood later. I could see, how even from that, it really, at this point, I could fast forward and see how it molded and shaped you into, your active and presence that you have there now. But what at that point where you go, parents are divorced, flood, what makes you go, the military is the option for me? And I don't want to assume it's because you're from Tick Bite, because most of my relatives who are from Toledo and Mansfield and small places, Ohio and Moncks Corner and Pine Bluff and Ida Bena, Mississippi, they've all joined the Navy, Marine Corps, or Army because they said this is how we get out. Like growing up in Los Angeles, the amount of people who I grew up with who where like it's either you blood and you cripping, or I could take this option. At the height in the beginning of 04, 05, Iraq and Afghanistan, going, they're gonna pay me 30,000 to get out of the neighborhood, and that would be better than me like staying and dying in San Pedro, Wilmington, Compton, Long Beach. Like I could go die on foreign soil than get killed by people who I've grown up with. Like, what made you go, man, this is a great option for me?
Well, the thing about it for me is that it's something that I always wanted to do. Like I was that kid watching Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando. I was that kid that grew up watching Tour of Duty. I was that kid that, was out there with the sticks, with the toy guns, and, just all of that all my life. And I knew that military was something that I wanted to do. And that was already an option that I had thought about. And so when the opportunity came and just having conversations with recruiters and different things of that nature like that, the thing that really drew me to it was because it was an opportunity. And I've had uncles and everything else like that was in the military, just having conversations with them. It was like, yeah, that's going to be the look. That's one of the things that I wanted to get accomplished in my life. I always wanted to be a soldier. And I
That's
never
beautiful.
forget just the honor of when I had a great uncle who passed away and I was young, and the color guard was there, and the flag that was draped over his casket, and they played taps, and they did the 21 gun
Mm,
salute, and that right there, just that honor piece of that, that's what connected with me, and I was like, man, if they can honor somebody like that, that's how I want to leave out when it's time for me to leave.
that's beautiful, man. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of things like that level of recognition, even though the person isn't there present, there's still that recognition and that honor, that dignity that you were given. I'll never forget, my grandmother getting my grandfather's flag, and we were about
Mm.
9, 10 years old, and we didn't understand it then, but to this day, she's remarried, and she gave the flag to my aunt, and that is, you go into there, it's this big lavish house, and like the highlight of that house is like that flag is there, and she's like, that's my daddy's flag. And it's, we've had discussion, who gets the flag, who's going to get, because it's something that, the family looks at the legacy of service and go, man, this is somebody who served honorably. It was a man of high respect and dignity. So yeah, man, I totally understand that. Like, that's awesome. I mean, I don't know why you didn't join. I'm biased because I'll have cousins and friends who watch this. They're gonna say, but he ain't joined the Marine Corps. But for don't listen to them. The response to them should
It's too late
always
now,
be,
bro.
yeah, the response to them should always be, I scored well on the ASVAB. I
Uh,
scored I scored
see,
good enough on the ASVAB.
See, I got too many homies and battle buddies that are Marines, so I'm not even going. I'm gonna let you have that one there. I have nothing to say. Salute to them for their service.
They could be like, hey man, we saw you on your man Steg, man. You was out here, so
Right,
we got to talk about this. But
right,
yeah, man.
right,
So
right.
so man, so that's, you're almost 20 years in the service, and I'm sure you've lived, traveled, and experienced. That you even say, you're Iraqi freedom veteran. in that, which, that's why I say, if you're feeling comfortable about it, that working with people, I spent 6.5 years working as a federal agent, law enforcement side. So, also, I've gone on to, in investigative work, gone on to do things and, caught by colors, during on installations going, hey man, we got to do this immediately. Colors plays, it's like everybody stop. This is that, watching sailors and soldiers trying to get inside. I'm like, you can't beat colors, brother. You can't. It's gonna click. But and in working with them, specifically those who are, those who did cross the wire, like seeing the, not just hearing the stories, but I've been, it brought joy to me to see a lot of them make the transition out to a successful life despite some of the harsh realities of their experience, of not just deployment, but specifically a couple of them who, when they signed up, they were like, I'm going into the Marine Corps, to be an electrician. Hey man, I joined the Air Force to be a cook. And then, it's contact. And they're like, this is not what I expected. And I've always found joy in speaking with them from hearing where they've come, those realities, and like their adjustment to just life and civilian life, and not leaving those things behind because it's there, but them being able to be successful compared to so many other people who I know and love dearly and hold close who haven't been able to do that. So I would say, even, for you, talk about your experience from that life, that reality of being over there, and how you were able to successfully transition to who you are now.
Wow. That's that's some of the stuff that I discussed in my book. But as
Hold
far
it up
as all
again.
of that,
Hold that book
oh
up
my
again.
fault.
I don't
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
no, it ain't no
This is
shameless plugs. Just plugs. Ain't no shame in it. The brother's doing
yeah, this
amazing
is
work. Pardon
yeah,
and or
man.
knife hand. The brother's doing amazing work. Go purchase. Go, man.
Go
Go,
to the
go
site and
copy.
get it now. I'm playing. No, no, no. But this, for me, it was a difficult transition for me, bro. And I'm one of those ones that I always strove to be that strong friend, the one that was the rock, the one that did everything for the battle buddies, the one that placed teams and everything above myself. And for me, when I came home from Iraq, we lost four soldiers during that deployment, and that's one of the things that really bothered me because I think it's called survivor's remorse. And you ask that question, why not me? Why did I survive? And just running through those type of deals, and I was in denial for years because I didn't want to admit that I had an issue, and I didn't want to admit that there was something going on with me. I figured that, I had it going on. I had it figured out that I can be able to adjust and I can be able to bounce back. But it took me 15 years and just living life and making mistakes, getting arrested, getting in fights, just a whole bunch of things that happened in my life during that period of time, those 15 years after coming back home, that I really wasn't opening up. And I was having nightmares, the symptoms of PTSD, the anxiety, the
Mhm.
attacks, the flashbacks,
Oh,
and
you
not
clicked.
expressing. Say again.
Oh, you clicked out for a second.
Okay, yeah. And so just all of the gamut of emotions that happened that soldiers, I ended up, we had a PHA, which is a periodic health assessment. And there was a captain in there, and I had a cast on my hand. And so he asked me what happened. And folks have been asking me what happened to my hand for months. And I just been giving them the same old story because I didn't want to admit that I lost my cool, that I exploded. And I just tell them it's life. And when I told him, I said, it's life, sir. He said,
Oh, clicked out. You
you
clicked
still
out.
good?
Yeah, no, you clicked out for a second.
Okay, let me move this microphone. I've got this new DJI mic. Is that better?
Yeah, much clearer.
All right, good, 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 good. So yeah, and so we had a conversation, and he introduced me to behavioral health, and I just went through 2 years of therapy, bro. And I guarantee you, if I hadn't, as a black male, because I bought into all of those stereotypes.
Yep.
Black men don't do therapy.
Yep.
Black men, we don't discuss things like that. In the military, you got an issue, you go to the PX, you buy a pack of straws, and you
Yep.
suck it up. And so, that's just that mindset that I had. But just through that right there, therapy. If I guarantee you, bro, if I would not have went through therapy, either I'd be dead or I'd be locked up, either in a penitentiary or a mental institution. And those were legitimately my three options. Either I'd be dead in a mental institution or in a penitentiary. Because I was living life the absolutely wrong way. And it really broke me down, and I had to address a lot of the issues that I had been running from. And that's what I learned, is that you can't advance if you're avoiding.
Right.
And a lot of the things that I was avoiding, and just having that conversation with that lady, and like I said, 2 years, bro, 2 years of therapy. And she really helped me turn the corner. When she met me, I was in the tunnel, and she was one of the ones that was able to bring me out.
I think there's an honesty, and it's a bit rewarding to not just say, man, I did it successfully, but the reward in being real on it. Really, I really was in that spot, and I had to actually apply to do the work. You talk about not just doing the work, but even the how you kind of had somewhat accepted those stigmas that get attached to us. We don't do therapy, we don't tap in with resources. I was having a conversation with an associate of mine who does clinical work in Atlanta, and I always tell them, there's even like what we're having now, a real conversation about saying till you get away from disingenuous conversations about normalizing the mental health and giving specifically black men, I need the space to be vulnerable. Like until we arrive to that point, like it won't happen. So I could see how you went, look, man, I'm just gonna take this on. What would your suggestion be? Because I know specifically, I just want to take time to make sure I do this, and won't say it's specifically for a couple of people who I know who will watch this, but it is, and they know who they are. What would your suggestion be to those brothers who are kind of still in that space, and specifically veterans who are in that space of, look, man, I don't really know, I'm not in anymore. I don't got to go by any of the ARs. I don't got to stand by none of the regs. I don't need to go here. The VA just needs to cut me my meds and my check, and I could go. What is what are the words you give to them who are, I refer to them as like the unseen, the kind of looked over? What do you tell them? What do you tell those battle buddies who somewhat like at times feel they've been lost by or left behind?
Great question. And I think that I would tell them the conversation that I had with one of my battle buddies. And this is what I let him know, was that, listen, you know better than I do what's going on in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get tired of going through the same cycles, the same thoughts, you'll make the change. Because as much as we want people to change, as much as we want people to get the help or to look at life differently, until they're ready to make that decision, we have to allow them the space and the grace, because we all haven't walked the path until we was ready to walk that path. And so for me, I just let them know, like, listen, bro, I'm here for you. We can converse. I'm gonna be here, whatever you need. But it's important to you and yourself. When you start looking at your life and you start looking at the things that are happening around you and decisions and the choices that you're making, there's a better life that we can get to. We can live life better when we decide to do things differently. And so just I want you to know, just to keep plugging away, take some time, get focused, and understand that what you're going through, you're not by yourself. You're not isolated. You're not the first soldier to go through, or individual who transitioned PCS out of the military, whatever. You're not the first one to go through these things, and there are resources available. And your life is much more better when you're learning to release the things that are holding you captive.
That's a bar. That is indeed that let go. That let
That
go
let
is
go,
real.
man.
That let go is real, man. So I mean, I hear you, and even earlier how you said you were the person you were the battle buddy who made sure that the unit was good to go, and everybody was squared away even before yourself. Like that altruistic mindset of as long as everybody else is good. At times it's a detriment, but I've seen it really work successfully, toss up at times. And another role that you have, which, like I said, the growing up in LA, the greatest hood I've ever been in is fatherhood.
Mm.
Tell me, man, about specifically with the root of the parents splitting and this altruistic mindset of, man, let me make sure everybody else is good. Tell me about your journey into the greatest hood, the greatest fraternity, the finest. I'm biased, not just because it's Father's Day to get me happy Father's Day in advance, King. Oh man, I say it,
Likewise.
man. Listen, man, I say it not just because I am one, but man, I believe there's nothing better than fatherhood, man. There's nothing, no greater role I played, man, in my life. I believe God put me here to make sure these children is trained up right, trained up right, man. So tell me about your journey in establishing your legacy, man.
Mm. That's good. For me, I think that with my parents divorcing when I was 16, it really 16, 17, it really, for me, I just knew that I didn't want my children to be a product of divorce. And that was the main thing that I stood on. That's one thing that I was wanted to be certain on. And I wanted to raise them or rear them rather in a way that number one honored God, but also to be able to teach them about life and not to be a certain way. And so I think I'm a father of all girls. I have three daughters. And so that was having kids. That's what really it slowed me down a lot and it made me change, my view on life because I can remember each and every time I went to those appointments with my wife. And I remember the first time I heard the heartbeat and both of my daughters' heartbeat. And when I heard those heartbeats, bro, like I broke down crying because I was a part of this life.
Yeah.
I helped create this life and I have
Yeah.
to be a good steward over this. And bro, like that, them heartbeats, man.
It's a game changer. You could be the most. You can. It doesn't. I tell everybody. Man, I said I've served warrants. I've done this. I've been in fights. I've lived LA, and I've done all these things. And I talk to I've worked with high speed operators, and we all share the same thing. Hey, dog, when your kid was born, oh man, I sobbed like a baby. Sob. Somewhere right now, there's a hardcore gangster hood felon who will crash out on the slightest thing. Who his son or his daughter scrapes they need. All the masculinity out the window.
Oh
All
God.
the tough guy stuff is out the
Oh God.
window. It's a wrap. That's done with. Like yeah, man, yeah. So it that heartbeat, man. You heard it, and what was the shift mentally?
I don't even know if it was a mental shift. It was on an emotional level for me,
Hmm.
just that connection. Like I felt that instant, like um this is me. Like this is me. And when I that right there, I just felt the connection. And and like you was talking about when the baby born, when my first daughter was born, I couldn't even cut the umbilical cord because I was crying so much. The lady the nurse literally had to guide my hand. I couldn't even see the cord to cut it, bro, because it was just so much emotion behind it. And me, I'm an emotional guy. Like my kids will tell you, my daughters will tell you, like my dad will cry right now, but I don't do it in front of everybody. Like, oh
Right.
no, but my daughter, and that's one thing I wanted them to know as well. Like to see a balanced man, because a lot of
Right.
times what we grew up on and what we
It's
see is that Mr. T,
yeah,
that
yeah.
that rock, those dudes that are just like rah, rah, testosterone driven forceful, dogmatic, dominating men.
Yep.
That's what we've been seeing. And so, like for me, I wanted to show I think the example that I try to show for my girls is that listen, whoever you date, the bar is gonna have to be super high. That's just the way I am. And, just to show them model, I can be the protector, but I can also be emotional. I can be
Right.
the individual that's going to defend you, but I'm also going to be the individual that's going to listen to your heart. And so having that balance and having daughters, I think that that's one of the things that really helped me so much to be more self-aware of the things that I say and the model that I present to them. And that's what I try to do. I try to show them rather than tell them, because some of the generations that we seen, it was do as I say, not as I
Not as
do.
I do. Yep.
Mm.
Yep. And specifically with family coming out of the South, that was, that and the combination of you took the children are to be seen and not heard, and do as I say, not as I do. I was like, this is a path for destruction. Like, I'm gonna need a little bit more detail than this. But I mean, man, you talk the daughters, and I love the fact that you even discussed like the setting of a standard. Like, hey, listen, this is the base. This is the any of these dudes come in here, this is the base. This is the bare minimum. If he's not meeting this standard, what are we doing here? And I think there's at times it may be a generational thing, because I at moments I am thankful somewhat of some of the things my grandfathers and great uncle and my father, my stepfather taught me, because I'm like, all right, some of y'all things we're doing were absolutely out of pocket. Y'all were wilding. But other instances, I'm like, this really was a standard that you set. This was the tone that you presented in the house. And I think at times we've gotten away with that, or gotten away from it. So tell me from a standpoint of some of the things you've done, because I also have a son in the mix. I wasn't as blessed as you. I was as blessed as you to have all, girls, or you might want to say you weren't as blessed as me to not get the boys. Let me tell you, the boys it's equal headaches, just equal headache, man. It ain't equal headache. That's all I'm gonna say. Equal headache. But tell me some of the things that you've done to make sure that they're aware of, hey, this isn't just a minimum for me. This isn't a standard for me. I'm doing this to where they understand you're communicating to them. I'm doing this so that you could understand your value is far beyond just what somebody tells you. Like, I'm trying to be the person who's lining you up for success, not just for me, but because I love you so much. I don't want you to I don't want you to take or accept anything that's not worth your time or worth your heart or worth who you are, that I see you as the person.
Right. So one of the things that I've done intentionally ever since my girls were little, the phrase "don't be good, be great."
Mm,
Don't be good, be great. And so that's one of the things that have always told my daughters ever since they were in elementary school, just implanting those things. And I think that having little small nuances and those ways that we can give them the jewels of life, and that's letting them know that, listen, good is good. And that's good, but you've got greatness in you. I also, just have conversations with them and just let them know, for them to start realizing who they are and for them to know their worth. I got this thing where I make sure I hug my daughters. I make sure I give them a kiss.
right.
I teach them, look people in the eyes, have those firm handshakes, be aware of your surroundings, have those different conversations with yourself. I also, one of the standards that I bring about myself for me is I intentionally do not yell at my daughters. I feel that if I have to raise my voice, that's not good communication, because I want them to understand that, listen, I'm your dad and we're going to have some conversation. And that's one thing I just intentionally do. I don't yell at them. I don't scream at them. I don't curse at them, anything of that nature like that, because I want them to be able to know that love, even whether it's from a place of love or whether it's from a place of discipline, it does not have to be violent. And so,
Right.
and I want them to
Right.
understand, no man need to lay their hands on you. If we can't have a conversation, if I can't see things from your point of view, if you can't see things from my point of view and have an understanding and a dialogue, it's going to be problematic somewhere down the line. And so I try
Mm,
to, just like you say, set this standard, set this bar for them. And it may not be excellence, but in our household, we just try to demonstrate. And also, I try to show them what a relationship is between me and their mother by not raising my voice towards her, not cursing at her, just certain things that I just believe in, and giving her respect and honoring her and asking her to do things and calling her by her name. Just all of the things that I feel that I would want them to be. I try to mirror and model that before they can even engage in those things as being young ladies. And so we just have conversations, we have table talks, we sit down, we discuss things, we sit down and we even have dinner together, and just
That's
game nights and just all
that's
of those type of
beautiful.
deals, because a lot of those things from that, and we have to take a lot of the jewels and gems from the people that came before us
Right.
and implement the things that into the things, like, we can't bring all that stuff that they
Right,
did back
right,
in
right.
the
Gotta
day. So
gotta
like,
re gotta remix some of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we got to get the meat and spit out the bones, or we have to
Right.
do as my man, my mind just went blank. I got the cover of it in my mind right now. Um, it'll come back to me, but it's important for us to be able to take those things, remix them, put them in a different way. And so for me and our family, that's just some of the things we do, bro. And it's just, I don't know how they're going to turn out, but right now I think I got the world's best daughters.
Man, you do, man. Listen, so you it's amazing, specifically the fact that y'all are doing dinner like that again, something from the past that like we've gotten away from being able to go in there and doing front face engagement to actually hear about the day, like how was your day, like really detailed, have
Yeah.
that convo, man. So you're telling me about the world's greatest daughters now, and I'm gonna clip this so that she sees it. Tell me about the world's greatest wife.
Bro.
You gotta sell it because I'm gonna clip these. Yeah, I know you ain't gotta sell it because I'm sure she's amazing.
Um, the world's greatest wife. And if you look at my shirt, you see hashtag Nell Pittman Strong.
Mm,
And Nell Pittman Strong is my mother-in-law. She was attacked 5 years ago, January 2nd, 2020. She was beaten in the head with the aluminum baseball bat here in
Jesus.
Kinston, North Carolina. And as a result of it, she sustained a severe TBI. And watching and the severe TBI, if you don't know what a TBI is, that's a traumatic brain injury.
Mm,
And she went from being a pillar of the community to having requiring 24-hour care. She can't feed herself, she can't bathe herself. She needs 24-hour care. And just watching my wife through this whole ordeal and supporting her through this whole ordeal, it's just amazing, bro. And I salute her strength and her tenacity and just her love. And so my wife, she's been there for me countless times, and I think that her my wife is the ultimate demonstration of what motherhood and what daughterhood and what wife is, because she wears all of these different hats, and she is constant and she's consistent, and she get tired and just all of that right there, but just her ability to function and survive with the level of things that's been happening in our family. I think that
man,
she's
yeah.
amazing, and I salute her, and I tell her constantly, that she is a phenomenal, phenomenal woman. And even with her work that she's doing with her nonprofit, she's refusing to allow these things to keep her in the shell. And she went through her time of, and she's still battling and coming out of the shell and everything else like that. But just the way that she has been there, not only for myself, but for her mom and for her family and
Mm.
everything else like that. Just her level of compassion and love is astounding, and it absolutely blows me away.
Yeah. She's one on one.
Bro, listen,
One on
is
one. One of one,
when the
man.
mold when that mold was made, when they made her Nika, it
God
was
threw it
shattered.
away.
It was shattered, bro. It was
That's
shattered. And I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that says, you don't know how strong the tea is until it's in hot water. And when she got placed in hot water, her everything that was in her came out. And not only does it taste well, her fragrance is what everybody else appreciates when they're around her.
Nothing more than a diamond. The pressure just didn't do anything but just show more of the luster. That's amazing,
It's
man.
it's creating. It's
That's
definitely, and she's a she's growing, and I just can't wait to. I'm just thankful to be living life with her. You know, that's what I call her. You know, she's my life partner, and I call her favor because ever since she's came into my life, that's what it's been. You know, just favor and just been not necessarily as everyone say, oh, to help me and all that other type of deal. Like,
yeah.
nah, this is who I am walking through life with. We've been married for 16 years. And so
Beautiful.
it's just been a journey. It hasn't been, she's walked with me through my low points,
Mm.
and she's stood by me, she's encouraged me, and she is literally we both call each other rocks. You know, she's my grounding, I ground her, and you know, the yin and yang, you know. She when I'm like Neo said, that song, You Make Me Better. She
You
treats me like
man,
a dog,
listen.
watches for the hits.
Man, that's amazing, man. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, man. You know, all of the old church women gonna see this and they be like, you see what he said? He that findeth a wife. That's what all of the old church
Bro,
would be. You see what he said there? I'll be like,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
what
put
he
you on. I'm
doing?
gonna let you know a secret too, man. That's funny because I seen her. We went to the same elementary school, and I saw her on the elementary bus. And when I saw her on the
Wow.
elementary bus, bro, my heart started fluttering and everything. And
Six,
we went
seven,
through.
8 years old. You was like,
Yeah, yep. She was 3 years older than me. She was three on
that's
2 grades. She's 3 years older than me, and she's 3 grades above me. And I never would say nothing to her. Never would say nothing to her. And then I finally I was driving one day and I saw her ride by Buster Huey, and
that man was in love. That man risked the
bro,
general a
listen, I ain't
rapture.
seen this, so yeah, that's
I'll be like,
real,
well,
and I
he
can
if
tell you
you
that story
watching
too.
this
But
sister,
it's
that brother loved you. He risked the ticket. That man went after it. Man, that's a true boy. Yeah, listen, I don't know if y'all done told the daughters that story. First and foremost, you ain't got to worry about where the daughter's gonna end up, man. I think it's amazing that God designed it for you to end up walking this journey together because I think the mindset that
mm,
both of you just approach life with. Like, I'm not worried about y'all daughters, man. I'm not worried about y'all daughters at all, brother. I'm who I'm worried for is people, who wish ill on the community because clearly what y'all are doing is anything that's plotted against it, man. Y'all are setting up something that's gonna be long once we're gone. Y'all names and the work that y'all are gonna do, man. Even with the shirt of your mother-in-law, is gonna carry for a long time. Man, I ain't worried about your daughters, man. I'm worried about the dusty, ashy dudes who think who think it's sweet. That's I'll be like, man, I don't think y'all. If you watching this, I don't think y'all want to. Man, you better come correct.
yeah, yeah,
Better
yeah.
better
You're
better come
right.
correct. So, man,
Exactly.
the work, but and I gotta add, what's the name of the nonprofit that your wife is running?
It's called Act Now, and
Hmm,
Act Now, Act is an acronym, which is Action Creates Transformation.
love
And
it.
so she's working towards, and she's rebranding, and she's rebuilding and restructuring and everything else like that. But yeah, action creates transformation, and
I
that's what we're about.
love it. I got an amazing afterwards. We're gonna talk. I got an amazing person who I think she's a close friend of mine who's helped me get some things together. I created a foundation in my mother's honor. My mother passed 3 months ago of ovarian cancer, so I generated something in
Mm,
her honor to make sure, that the work and things that she did established in Los Angeles and Detroit and Toledo and all these other places where it at times you see somebody pass, or even as you said with your mother-in-law, you in her in this moment of what others would deem weakness, you see the strength of that person and those who surround her. Like we say give people flowers while they could smell them, but I think you could eulogize people while they're breathing, and to see those who come and surround and those who speak well of people, whether they be gone or here, you're like, this person, this isn't a point of weakness. This is a very strong person because look at the strength of them to bring these other people around. And yeah, man, even how you describe your wife and her doting love for her mother and that effort she put in. I thought of my stepfather being by my mother's side as she got ill and sick, and I'm not going here, I'm not doing this, and just being there. And you don't get a lot of people who have that much of them to give. So yeah, man, I'm proud of what you and your wife are doing, man. And yeah, if you're a young man and you know you're interested in one of those candy girls, boy, keep your head on the swivel. Keep your head on the swivel. You better be careful, boss. But no,
Yes,
man,
sir.
with all of the work, I absolutely have to get to the work. And I believe the actual release date is the actual release date is the 20 what?
The 22nd.
That's what I was, because I was like, I know we're about slightly over a week out because I keep seeing it. And man, tell me about, because I don't want to call it, like I said, I don't want to call it a book because it's a work, because it's something that I believe in. Just hearing the conversations and seeing the post and how you've promoted, I'm like, this is far more expansive than just something tangible that somebody is going to purchase and okay, I got this book. This seems like something that's going to transcend the letters that are on the page. Tell me about the
Mm.
work.
The work, the work is a work that I've been wanting to do. I've always wanted to write a book. Growing up, that's
Mm,
something, maybe it was escapism, I don't know, but just reading books, it always painted pictures in my imagination. And for me, being able to do something that I've always wanted to do, it was it was a journey. And to be quite honest, one of the reasons why I really kind of had to sit down and do this work was to help me to take my mind off of the things that was going on. It was my relief valve. This
mm,
was, an opportunity for me to unpack and to really, really deal with some things that, man, the bottom just fell out. Some things that was inside of me, and to get it out of here and to put it down on paper. And so I wrote this for the man that needed it back then. And so, like,
mm,
to these men,
mm,
specifically those gentlemen that you were speaking to at the beginning, when you asked me what would I would give them, I would give them this. I
mm,
would give them this and have them to read it and to see, different touch points and how my life was going, and to be able to give someone the advice, because a lot of times we don't have a manual on life. We don't have idea, different things of that nature like that. And the things that I needed was in this book, the perspectives and different things of that nature like that. And so for me, it's my opportunity to give to men, service men, or men in general, women in general, whenever you're in those tunnels, it walked with me through that. And so, like I said, the therapist that I had, I include some of the things that we discussed in the work, and just trying to break down the stigma that is associated with mental health and with therapy, and to allow people to know that wherever you are, progress is possible if you're willing to tap
mm,
in.
mm. How, one, what made you finally sit down to write it? And then two, how important is progression? Because again, this is a book for anybody. How is important is it for people to realize that whatever point they are in life, that they do need to progress? I know a lot of folk get trapped in arrested development. You know, there's
Mm,
you're at this, you know, hey, here was my, I don't, that's the scientific term. Like my fiance is a therapist, so like she makes sure she doesn't therapize me. She tells me I'm not going to be your therapist. I have a rate. um but there's, they say, you know, it's the arrested development. I always call it, you know, the high school varsity jacket theory. You know, the dude who's 8 9 years removed from school, and he's still like, this is, he's still perusing the high school. He's caught up in that moment. You know, Eddie Kane Jr., for those of you who are old enough to have seen the Five Heartbeats. um Tell me about what made you finally sit down and write it, and then the importance that people progress from a mental health standpoint.
mm. What made me finally sit down and write it? Because I knew that it needed to be done. It was a work that needed to be done. And I was, like I said, I've been telling people I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna write a book, but I needed a way put to focus my mind, because my mind was all over the place with everything that was happening concerning my mother-in-law and family and everything else like that. And so This was my way of channeling, another way of putting my energy towards something versus having it all in here and to be all over the place. And how important is progression? I think that we're designed for progression, bro. If you look at our bodies demonstrate progression. Our feet face forward, our eyes face forward, our
Mm-hmm.
ears are pointed forward. All of our vital organs that keeps us alive as far as our five senses are facing forward. If we look at the way we walk, we're not designed to walk backwards. We're designed to walk forward. When we
Forward.
look at a baby, their first steps are moving forward. They're crawling forward. And so, like you were saying, when we get in these pockets of arrested development, or we get in these pockets of where we're stuck, stagnant, stalled, suffering, we
Mm.
understand that there is a way to do things differently, and cycles are going to keep seasons in naturally. Cycles end when we choose to put an end to them. And so just helping people understand, like, there's a way and there's an option for us to move forward. And this is my way of giving you a suggestion that you can take these steps to move forward.
That's amazing, man. That's yeah. If y'all heard that and you're wondering, that's your sign to go and purchase the work. That's your sign to go to the website and purchase the book. Cause again, man, and even in hearing you worded, like I said, I don't in watching your promotion and now even like auditorily like hearing you explain it, it's not something that you just put into a book. This is like a passion project. You're really like, I always say, when people they put their heart into something that's greater than them, you think, I'm doing this book and this, and I'm like, it's really almost like a it's almost like you're doing like an involuntary form of ministry. Like, you're going to tap into these people that like, I really have a heart for these people. And the fact that you keep saying, and I believe it's for everybody, but I think there's an audience that this book is going to touch and provide a service for, who are regularly overlooked, who are looking for that battle buddy, who are looking for somebody to see them, acknowledge them, and give them some insight. And man, from everything that it sounds of what I've seen, man, I'm super excited for it to drop on the 22nd. I'm super excited to actually purchase a copy, because like I said, I ain't no send me one. No, man, no. I'm going to the shop or the PayPal or the however it goes, and I'm going to buy one, because another thing, over, you put your money where your mouth is. You really like the
Mm,
work, man, you pour it in the good soil, man. Pour it in the good soil, and what y'all are doing is great soil. It's
mm,
great soil, not good, but great.
mm. I
Yeah,
caught that.
not good. See, I caught on, man. Not good, but great. But
I caught that.
yeah, man. But man, if there's man, tell the audience, man, where they could find you, how they could find you, and also know, you're active in the community. So along with just like your social medias and the websites, where can people find you physically if they wanted to see you at an actual engagement, speaking, book signings, etc.? What's the calendar for the next couple of weeks outside of, being dad and husband and amazing son-in-law?
Mm, mm. Well, of course, the social medias, you can find me on those. On Facebook, you can find me under Tah'Ron Cannon. That's TahRonCannon. For my business, it is Committed to Progressing Forward. You can find that on Facebook as well. On IG, it is CTP Cannon. CTPF Cannon, excuse me. That is Charlie Tango Papa
Paul
Foxtrot.
Fox. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for, because I was like, is he gonna alphabet me? That is
Yeah,
Charlie, Tango, Papa,
yeah,
Fox,
Foxtrot.
Charlie,
Yeah.
Alpha, November. No, I was like, here it comes.
Yes, sir. The whole phonetic alphabet. That's the Uncle Sam. That's the Uncle
Yeah,
Sam.
Uncle.
And
Yeah, man.
and a lot of times, and I think that that's one of the benefits of having it, because it gives clarity. Whenever we have a
Absolutely.
conversation, and I think that a lot of things get lost in the detail when folks are talking, and so just being able to say things clearly so that people can catch on to it. And so, yeah, and on all the rest of the platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It's all CTPF Cannon. If those are the information that you want to stay in contact with me, I'm building the rest of my platforms up and all of that. But primarily, I'm most active on Facebook, and I'm starting to branch out into these other platforms as well. As for me here lately, my calendar has pretty much been cleared, bro. Like this project, this book project right here, it just really has consumed me. And so just really starting to, this is the first podcast that I've done since the book has been in these stages right here. And so just looking to start opening up, just getting different engagements to really just have conversations about the work and everything else like that. Because I think that, like you said, you know, the niche and the demographic needs to hear it. And there's a lot of people that have been suffering and they've been silent and they've been suffocating.
Yeah.
But this right here is the oxygen mask for you. This is the life, that cool breeze, that cooling water that you've been needing to just help you reset and refocus, bro.
That's deep. That's deep. A word for a time like this, man. Well, man, I greatly appreciate it. I'm thankful again, Tah'Ron, man, for your time. I know I'll let you, man, do the family stuff and continue to live life. But man, I'm privileged, I'm blessed, I'm honored that you shared the space with me. I'm looking forward to my book coming in the mail. Hopefully the post office do what it needs to do.
Well, listen, we autograph it. I make sure those who pre-order, we definitely I'll be autographing those. That's going to be available. You can purchase those directly from me. The autograph copies will be directly from me, and then it's going to be available on Amazon as well. Amazon and ebook. It's going to, and I'm thinking about doing the audio version too.
The
I just have
Audible?
to. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the Audible too. So I just want to make sure that however way people consume books, because I know, you know, traditionally everybody's not a paperback reader. So, you know, we're
Some
going to have
people
it
are.
on the Kindle version, and then if you need it
Auditory version.
audio too. So just want to make sure we have all the bases covered. And if you want to consume it, we got the meal prepared for you. Only thing you got to do is sit down, put your bib on if you need a bib, and we're going to give it to you, man, however way it needs to be served, a la carte or gourmet.
Man, awesome, man. And what's the website where they can get the pre-order right now?
Okay, I am going to, let me double tap because I don't want to tell you anything wrong.
And what I'll do is, yeah, I'll make sure when it's posted, man, I'm throwing the link and everything else in there, man. Let me see. It is. Hold on,
give me a
look.
second.
There we go. It is. It looks like if you go to the Instagram, you click the hyperlink below.
Yep,
It'll
that's
take
it.
you directly. It'll take you directly to this site right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could go and purchase. I'm gonna stay on this after we get off the call, so I can get my pre-order copy in. Because you know, man, I'm just looking forward to supporting the work, man. I'm looking forward to supporting the work, man. Again, thank you, man, for blessing me with your presence and your time. And you and the family enjoy. Hopefully, brother, get some relaxation this weekend because it's our weekend. You might have to swipe the card, but it is still. Uh, I know Navy fan ain't gonna be confused. If I don't swipe that card, Navy fan gonna be like, what happened? You didn't? Oh, okay. All right. They paid. Oh, they paid for that. They paid. All right, brother. God
I
bless.
can tell you've been around military folks, even though the banks and all. You
Man,
probably got a Navy Fed
listen,
account yourself,
no,
don't you?
man, listen, man. I told you, man, as a former federal agent, but they was like, yeah, you can go get Navy Fed. I said, man, I did card loans, set up kids accounts. I said, listen, this is the only thing I do now is when people say, would you do it over? I said, look, man, I said, depending on if I continue to like the job I'm in, I said, if I'm not, I done spoke my fiance. I said, hey, look, I could still run a mile and a half short. I said, y'all might say, if you see me down here with the Georgia National Guard or Air National Guard, man, don't say nothing. You see me standing the post, reading general orders, don't mind your business.
And
Mind your
listen,
business.
do what you got to do, bro. Do what you got to do, and keep that red card on you.
Coach, man, thank you again, man. I appreciate the time, man. Have a blessed rest of the day and happy Father's Day in advance again, brother.
Likewise, thank you kindly, bro.
All right, appreciate you, kid.